Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video and hope you guys are doing well today. We're talking about heroics in Cata and how hard really were they. One of the most common things you will hear from OG Cata players is the step up in difficulty between Wrath and Cata. And the term Wrath Babies was coined during this expansion for those that just couldn't handle the supposed jump in difficulty. Well, I'm here to really ask that question. Was it actually that big? So let's talk about it. In Wrath of the Lich King, it's fair to say, even with the new and improved Alpha and Beta Rune dungeons, they aren't often a challenge. Rarely do you ever use CC. It becomes more an exercise in just doing more damage and more healing rather than ever handling mechanics particularly well. Well, in Cataclysm, that attitude will serve you much differently. They focused a lot more on mechanics doing damage and having white mechanics and all this other stuff, and they are a lot more punishing. And whilst you can definitely get to a point in which you outgear heroics enough to brute force your way through, there will always be mechanics that can come back and bite you. In normal dungeons and as you progress through the leveling, this is less relevant. Most bosses will die in around a minute or sub 1 minute with a group in like Trial of the Grand Crusader or ICC gear and blast through the content relatively easily. And you're unlikely to need much in the way of CC, and it will feel very reminiscent of Wrath of the Lich King heroics. Maybe like slightly harder hitting mobs or more health, but generally I don't think it's going to be that much of a challenge. It's really them early heroics that gave Cataclysm the bad boy reputation of punishing dungeons. Doing mechanics incorrectly whilst equal to or lower gear than expected is likely to cause a death or wipe very quickly. Now I'm going to talk about a walk-ins. I believe they happen in TBC. I believe they happen in Wrath. Obviously, you don't have queued dungeons, right? So in either of those expansions, whereas in Cataclysm, we should start with random dungeon finder. Please, Blizzard. So you need 329 item level to queue for a random heroic. However, that's not to say that you can't walk in with less item level. And you'll see groups doing this. You'll see groups go in, hit level 85, and go straight into Cataclysm heroics, and they are going to struggle, right? In terms of just pure numbers that they'll need to do sometimes, they will absolutely struggle. There are bosses that have healing checks, there are bosses that have DPS checks, there are bosses that will just one-shot your tank. If you get maybe 2 packs of trash at the same time, it could cause a wipe. It genuinely could cause a wipe. It's one of those things that it's a lot more punishing in terms of being undergeared, let's say. But all in all, I would say clearing heroics with around that 329 item level, which is what's expected to queue through random dungeon finder, is probably akin to like a normal raid difficulty in Wrath. Maybe slightly harder. You can't really have people in your group slacking, right? You need all 5 people performing. Some of the bosses, for example, like the last boss in Grim Batol, will just wipe you if you don't do the mechanics correctly, gear or no gear. So going into Cata, it's not a bad idea to brush up on boss tactics, of which you should definitely sub to my channel because I'm going to have loads of guides out. A base understanding of more dangerous mobs in the dungeon and a little bit of prep work and an attitude adjustment. The mechanics are the most important thing, and not trying to speed run or kill things faster or worrying about that until you're confident. And most people will fly through dungeons, gear up, and be able to brute force a little bit more in the dungeons. Most of my characters on the Cata server are 360 item level plus. Heroics, for example, drop 3, 4, 6 item levels. So I'm like 15 item levels above what even drops in heroics. And I wiped in a heroic this morning with a group that was very overgeared because we just ignored a mechanic and it killed us. So just it's one of those things that it's not difficult, it's just difficulty in a different area. So talking about all this, it does actually keep the heroics feeling a little bit fresher for longer, and they don't feel so mind-numbingly easy. So I'm actually a fan of this. I think we're going to get a lot of pushback initially, but it's exactly what happened in original Cata. But I think we've improved as like the average player has improved massively over the last 10, 12 years. I don't think it'll be too much of a problem. I don't think heroics are that hard in Cata. So thanks for watching, guys. More videos to come soon. Catch you later. Goodbye.